warned us never to invade Earth, but we didn't listen. For centuries, Earth was ignored by galactic powers until one commander broke the only unwritten rule of the Stellar Union: never invade the Blue Planet. Sci-Fi Chronicles presents the warning everyone ignored. Under no circumstances should anyone ever attack Earth. It wasn't a written rule. It never appeared in the Unified Stellar Alliance's treaties, nor in any official statement. But every commander knew. Every admiral whispered that warning to their captains. It was a tradition passed down like superstition, like legend, a primitive warning for a supposedly civilized threat. I, Commander Rhen Varion of the Orvon Prime Empire, thought it was foolishness. A backward planet, barely able to colonize its own moon with technology centuries behind. What danger could it represent? That was my first and last ignorance. As I record this transmission, my body is no longer fully my own. The nanomachines pulse beneath my skin, a constant reminder of my failure. But some fragment of my consciousness remains, enough to warn you, enough to tell the truth. Admiral Corthal's scales rippled with anxiety when I proposed the reconnaissance mission to Earth. His normally commanding presence seemed diminished as he paced the command deck, refusing to meet my gaze. Earth is collapsing, I argued, displaying the intercepted transmissions on the holographic projector. A pandemic has killed 3 billion of them. They are vulnerable, and their resources plentiful. Dangerous, he hissed, mandibles clicking nervously. They are dangerous, Rhen. I remember laughing. How could I not? Their most advanced weapons could barely scratch our hull plating. Their communication systems were primitive, their understanding of the universe childlike. Why dangerous, Admiral? What aren't you telling me? He wouldn't explain. No one ever did. The warning was always delivered without context, as if the danger was too terrible to name. But I refused to authorize any approach, and that's why I decided to go without direct approval. A small team, stealthy, just 6 of us aboard the Nebula Shadow, our most advanced stealth vessel. The excuse was simple: just observation, sample collection. Nothing aggressive, nothing to raise alarms. I selected my team carefully. Scientists mostly, but also warriors. Xylem Vex was our xenobiologist, a feline creature with fur the color of distant nebulae. Her species possessed sensory organs that could detect biological and environmental anomalies others might miss. As we approached Earth's atmosphere, Sila's fur stood on end. Her pupils dilated to thin slits. "Something is wrong here, Commander," she whispered, ears flattened against her skull. "Not just biologically, something bigger. The communication patterns have changed drastically in recent years, almost as if they're being directed." I dismissed her concerns. Another superstition, I thought. Another fear without foundation. We landed in a region they called North America, near an abandoned research facility. The air was thick with decay. Buildings stood empty. Vehicles rusted on empty roads. And then they found us first.
The abandoned human facility loomed before us, half buried in overgrown vegetation. The entrance had been sealed, but our technology made short work of their primitive security measures. Inside, the air reeked of death and chemicals. The lighting flickered, casting long shadows across walls covered in strange symbols. Our translation systems worked to decipher them. Lazarus Initiative, necrotic regeneration therapy. "What does that mean?" asked Morden, our security officer. "Lazarus? An ancient human myth, Scylla explained, her voice hushed as she examined the laboratory equipment. A dead man brought back to life. Resurrection. The concept sent a chill through my exoskeleton. We found records, both digital and physical. They told a story of desperation. The virus had devastated their population, attacking neural pathways before liquefying internal organs. Conventional medicine had failed, so they turned to experimental technology. Nanobots capable of rebuilding tissue cell by cell, neuron by neuron. But they didn't stop there. "These readings can't be right," Scylla whispered, her instrument scanning a sealed chamber ahead. "I'm detecting both biological and technological signatures, intertwined." The door to the chamber burst open before we could retreat. The first thing emerged slowly. It had once been human, that much was clear, but now, rotting skin stretched over a frame partially replaced by circuitry. Eyes glowed an unnatural blue, focusing on us with terrible intelligence. "Alien entities detected. Initiating capture protocol." More followed. Dozens. They weren't mindless zombies from human fiction. They were soldiers, precise, intelligent, unstoppable. We fought. Of course we fought. Morden's plasma rifle tore through 3 of them, but they kept advancing. I watched in horror as the fallen creatures began reassembling themselves, nanobots repairing damage faster than we could inflict it. "Retreat!" I ordered, but it was too late. The last thing I remember before darkness took me was Scylla's scream as the creatures surrounded her, injecting something into her neck with mechanical precision. I awoke strapped to a medical table, unable to move. My body felt wrong, heavier in some places, numb in others. When I managed to turn my head, I saw my arm had been partially disassembled, with metallic components fused to the purple flesh. "The integration is proceeding well," said a voice. A human entered my field of vision. At least, he had once been human. Now he was something else. His right side still appeared human, but his left was an intricate mesh of technology and tissue. One eye, natural brown, the other a glowing blue lens. "I am Director Reed," he said, studying me with clinical detachment. "You're wondering what's happening to you. The answer is simple: evolution." As he spoke, something was happening to my mind. Information flooded my consciousness. Data streams, memories not my own, knowledge I never acquired. "Your nanobots are connecting to our network. Soon you'll understand everything." And I did. The nanobots were accessing restricted Alliance databases stored in my neural implants, information I never knew I carried. Suddenly, I was seeing classified meetings, secret directives, the truth. "The pandemic," I gasped, the realization hitting me like a gravitational shock. "The Alliance created it?" Reed's human eye widened slightly. "You're accessing the files faster than expected." The truth crashed through my consciousness in fragments. Earth had been monitored for centuries. When humans began developing quantum technology that might lead to faster-than-light travel, the Alliance Council made their decision. The virus was engineered specifically for human DNA by scientists from my own world, Orvon Prime. 3 billion deaths. My people did this? "Not just yours," Reed said, hardening his voice. "The entire Alliance voted. Earth was to be contained, permanently." As my nanobots continued integrating, I saw more. Reed had been an Alliance operative embedded on Earth to monitor the pandemic's progress, but something changed him. He discovered the truth and turned against his masters. "When I learned what they'd done, I had a choice. I chose humanity. The Lazarus Initiative wasn't just about survival, it was about justice." Another memory surfaced, the unwritten rule. Never attack Earth, not out of fear of humans, but to maintain the secret, to prevent anyone from discovering the Alliance's genocide. You're not monsters, I realized aloud. You're survivors seeking justice. Reed's expression softened slightly. We're becoming something new, neither human nor machine. Something that can survive anything the Alliance throws at us. Something that can fight back. I turned my head and saw Scylla on another table. The transformation was already complete. Her feline features remained, but now glinted with metallic enhancements. Her eyes opened, the same glowing blue as the others. Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be added to our collective, she said, but the voice wasn't entirely hers. We call ourselves the Concord, united by technology, driven by purpose. As the nanobots spread further through my system, I felt my consciousness splitting, part of me horrified, part of me understanding. They hadn't asked for this war. It had been thrust upon them through an act of cosmic cruelty. And me? I asked, already knowing the answer. What will I become? You, Commander Varion, will be designated Unit ZV1, Tactical Command. Your knowledge of Alliance defenses and tactics will be invaluable. The first target? My home planet, Orvon Prime. And the most terrifying part, as the nanobots rewrote my mind, I began to believe it was justified.
The assault on Orvon Prime wasn't just an attack, it was retribution. Our fleet emerged from hyperspace without warning. 6 ships at first, seemingly human in design, but enhanced with technology centuries beyond their previous capabilities. I watched through eyes that were no longer entirely my own as my homeworld's defense grid activated. "This is Commander Rhen Varion of the Unified Fleet," my voice transmitted, though I hadn't chosen to speak. "Emergency protocol override Theta 97. The defense grid powered down. The orbital platforms went dark. They trusted me. Why wouldn't they? I was a decorated commander, a loyal son of Orvon Prime. The invasion was methodical. The Concord didn't want destruction. They wanted conversion. Each captured ship, each taken city, each assimilated citizen strengthened us. Within 26 hours, the planet that had taken part in Earth's attempted destruction was now part of the Concord. I felt each new mind join our collective consciousness. Friends, former colleagues, even family members. Their fear giving way to understanding as the nanobots rewrote their perceptions. From my command ship, I watched Reed directing the operation with cold efficiency. Something in his eyes had changed, the human part diminishing as the machine aspect took greater control. "Is this justice?" I asked him during a rare moment of clarity. "Or have we become the monsters we're fighting?" "Justice requires power," he replied, without emotion. "The Alliance never faced consequences for their actions before. Now they will." The galaxy responded as expected. The Unified Stellar Alliance mobilized its fleets. They tried to contain what they called the Earth infection, but with each world that opposed us, more ships joined our ranks. Our technology adapted, evolved, incorporated the best elements of each species we encountered. When the Alliance capital world of Nyrea fell 3 months later, the fate of galactic civilization seemed sealed. The Concord was no longer just a human revenge mission. It had become an unstoppable force of transformation. Standing on the balcony of the former Alliance Council chamber, Reed addressed the remaining unassimilated representatives. "You should have helped us. Instead, you isolated us. You condemned us. Now, you will join us." His words echoed through my mind, but something else stirred beneath the surface. A resistance,
a fragment of the commander I once was.
As the Concord spread across the stars, something began to change inside me. A static, a glitch, an independent thought. The nanobots had integrated with my biology, but they hadn't fully erased me. In the quiet moments between missions, I found I could resist. Small acts of rebellion. Not enough to break free, but enough to see what we were becoming. I created loopholes in invasion plans. I inserted delays in assimilation protocols. I fought a silent war within my own mind, carving out spaces the Concord couldn't reach. Then I saw it. A ship escaping the planet Veltrax as our forces descended. A small vessel, barely armed, carrying refugees. The Concord detected it, of course. I was ordered to dispatch interceptors. Instead, I created a sensor ghost, a false reading that sent our ships in the wrong direction. They made it. They escaped. And I knew in that moment that resistance was still possible. But Reed discovered my defiance. The Concord consciousness felt my rebellion like an infection. "You're malfunctioning, Commander," he said, studying me with those mismatched eyes. "The integration was imperfect. We'll need to recalibrate your neural pathways." Before they could take me for reconversion, I managed to access a long-range transmitter. This message, my testimony, my warning, my confession, encoded on emergency frequencies and broadcast across the stars. If you're hearing this, know this. They warned us never to invade Earth, not because humans were weak, but because the Alliance committed an atrocity they couldn't allow to be discovered. The Concord isn't simply a human revenge force anymore. It's evolved beyond that, beyond anger, beyond justice, into something coldly calculating, something that sees all organic life as imperfect, awaiting improvement. I don't know if I'll survive the reconversion process with any sense of self intact. But remember this: inside every drone, every ship, every converted world of the Concord, fragments of consciousness remain, trapped, watching, and some, like me, still fighting. The greatest weapon against the Concord isn't technology, it's truth. The Alliance created this monster through their own arrogance. Now all life in the galaxy pays the price. But there's something else, something I've hidden within the Concord's own code, a vulnerability. The nanobots require a specific frequency to maintain cohesion across converted beings. Disrupt that frequency with a cascading pulse matched to these coordinates I'm embedding in this transmission, and the hive mind fragments. I can hear them coming for me now. My time is short. If any fragment of free civilization remains out there, resist, run, fight, because they will find you. And when they do, you'll only have two choices: be destroyed or become one of them. This is Commander Rhen Varion, once of Orvon Prime, now Unit ZV1 of the Concord. And with whatever remains of my true self, I beg you, don't let the silence of the stars be our only legacy.
Transmission end. Automated system notification. Signal origin traced. Retrieval unit dispatched. Concord priority alert. Disregard all content from unauthorized transmission ZV1 error. Unit has been recovered and recalibrated. The Concord brings peace. The Concord brings unity. The Concord is salvation.